In this lesson, we're going to be doing a little bit of scanning with Burp Suite. I've actually got Burp Suite up and running now. As I mentioned, it's an intercepting proxy server. And that means that we have to do some configuration here. And when I go to the proxy tab, I can go to options. Now, there's a proxy service that's listening on the local host on port 8080. What that means is I have to configure my browser to go to the proxy server rather than just going directly to the internet. So I'm using Firefox here, and the reason I'm using Firefox primarily is because Firefox has a number of plugins that I can use that will make web application testing easier. So I'm actually going to use Firefox instead of a different browser. And the other reason for using Firefox is Firefox actually has proxy settings that are specific to the browser. So under Mac OS, I could use Safari. Safari would use a system-wide proxy setting. Chrome would also use the system-wide proxy setting. Where Firefox, I can have a separate browser that uses Burp Suite and then just only run Firefox when I need to run Burp Suite. And all of my other browsers that I might use will continue to use the system-wide settings, which I would just leave as directly connected to the internet. I'm going to load up a website now, and we're going to just bring up a couple of things here. And what that's going to do is it's going to seed the Burp Suite table with all of the hosts that we want to do some testing with. Because I'm going through the proxy here, I'm actually needing to set a security exception for the certificate. So I've got my certificate here, and I've actually done this previously. So we should be able to get through here. Let's try this without the HTTPS. And that works. So we're going to go back to Burp Suite at this point. Now, we've got the scanner tab over here, and what's happening is, as I'm browsing through the various pages that I'm going to, and I'm going to pop back over to the target tab here and just show you, I've got the different links and pages that we've been to. They show up here in the sitemap. Now, if I go over to the scanner, what's happening is Burp Suite is actually doing some analysis and vulnerability checking on the pages that we go to. So if I go to login.php, it tells me there's a clear text submission of password going on, and there's also a potential clickjacking. This is called passive scanning, and passive scanning just means that the only thing Burp Suite is doing is it's listening as I go browsing through the site, and it's trying to determine whether there are vulnerabilities in the pages it sees. It's not going off and finding other links. It's not doing any of that. It's not doing any active work at all. It's simply looking at the HTML that it sees as we go browsing through. And you can see here, if I select something out of the sitemap, and I'm just going to leave the /dvwa, I've got a request here, and I've got a response. So it's taking a look at the response and just seeing whether there's anything there or not. So if I go to the login page, you can see in the response, here's all of the HTML. So Burp Suite is parsing that HTML and just determining what's going on. And in the case of this alert over here, it noticed that there was a password field in this login page, and there was no HTTPS, so there was no SSL going on, and so that's just a clear text submission of password. So that's a potential vulnerability that we may want to take a look at. Coming up, we're going to do some investigating of active scanning and see what active scanning may actually give us that passive scanning doesn't.